No, so what we're going to discuss now is how the incident commander identified. A lot of that's identified by protocol, but we're going to go through some other slides here to explain this a little bit better. So the key is, from what agency does the incident command originate? So it's a lot of it is based on jurisdiction. Whoever has jurisdiction is the authority of jurisdiction, so they should be in command because they're the ones who are actually responsible for whatever happens within their jurisdiction. So there are times that there may be automatic mutual aid responses. That happens here occasionally, where a department may be there and not be the original agency having jurisdiction. But what most of our agencies do in this area is they will start the incident, and then once the agency having jurisdiction arrives, they will communicate with whoever is in command initially, and then they will transfer command or do a unified type command to handle whatever the incident is. We don't want to sit and delay any type of response or any type of extrication or firefighting, waiting for somebody from the original jurisdiction to show up before we start the incident. So there are times that you just may have to get started and then, figure it out once the agency gets there and gets things going, so you can handle the incident appropriately. Which agency has training and expertise to handle situation? There are some departments within our area that are very good or have expertise in one area that others may not have. And if that is like a grain bin type scenario or whatever it may be, the agency that has the training or expertise should lead the incident because they understand what they're going to need and what tasks need to be accomplished to bring this incident, to an end. So whoever's got training or the expertise to be able to bring this incident under control. Another one is which agency owns the majority of resources. So it depends, if you've got a brush fire and you don't have any brush trucks, they've got to kind of lead by what they're doing as far as having the right equipment to bring this incident under control. And something that happens around here quite a bit is diving. We've got a couple of departments that are capable of diving, but we have diving incidences that are not within some jurisdictions, and they don't have any of the resources to be able to handle that. So command over those resources is a priority because they understand what they're going to need and what their tasks are going to be. And that also goes along with history of handling the event. If you call a dive team, you're going to expect that they're going to be in charge because they understand what tasks they've got to complete and what they've got to do, like I said, to control this incident. And then once in a while, you're going to run into a mandated state, local, or federal agency that's going to be in charge of the event. Anytime like a fire department rolls up and you've got the railroad involved or the FAA is going to be involved if it's a plane incident, by mandate, they've got to be involved, and they will have to have some say over how these are controlled and managed and brought to a conclusion. So no matter what response organization the incident, the commander has to come from these concepts. Protocol should be listed. It's important to have protocol in place so everybody understands who the incident commander is going to be, so that can be established prior to the incident. A lot of departments in this area, whoever's going to be in the officer seat, the front passenger seat, that person is typically going to be the incident commander. Is how we do it in this area. The reason we do that is, they don't need to be thinking about driving, don't need to worry about getting there. They're thinking and running the incident through their head and worrying about resources and what they do once they want to get there. So it's important that officer in the right front seat is concentrating on those tasks so he understands what he wants to do and then gathering information and dispatching resources or whatever needs to be done. Also, we want to set benchmarks that are understood and obtainable. What are our goals here? Life safety, incident stabilization, property conservation is kind of the main ones that we use. Of course, life safety is the biggest benchmark we want to worry about. We're worried about life safety. If we can rebuild new buildings, but we can't do anything, if we have a large loss of life. So we want to make those benchmarks understandable and obtainable. And, those three guidelines are what we usually use. And then you need somebody who's good communication with its subordinates. We need somebody who is able to come up with a task, communicate the task that needs to be accomplished, and then be able to make sure it's communicated correctly, and you get feedback that each individual understands what task the commander has given them, and they're able to understand it and complete the task, and then report back anything they need or what they have to do, if they need any additional resources or they're unable to meet their task for whatever reason. So having good communication skills is very important, because you're going to be communicating with dispatch, other firefighters, police officers, ambulance personnel. So you got to be able to communicate well and explain what the situation is and what you expect from each individual involved. Also, consider the following incidents. So from this, response agency should command originate. So you have a car crash with injuries. Where should command originate from this type of scenario that you're faced with? You pull up on a car crash with injuries. On the fire side, we always take command, and we are the ones who are responsible for extricating the patients, bringing the incident to overall stabilization, and treating the injury. So we want to take command with that, and then the ambulance is going to be typically your transporting agency, and then we'll work kind of a joint situation with the police to be able to control whatever we need to do with the situation. A car crash with only fatalities, who's going to be in command there? Well, if there's nothing really for firefighters to do to stand by, that's going to be more of a police type incident. In our area, most fatalities, if they're on a state highway, is going to be handled by the state police. We're just going to stand by and wait for the state police to complete their investigation on any type prior to us doing anything as far as extrication or any other debris removal or any of that. All that's going to be left in place until the investigation is completed and the state police allow us to do that. That also works in city and county jurisdictions also. So, if there's only fatalities, there's really nothing for us firefighters to do or ambulance personnel to do. We're just going to secure the scene until the authority, police is having jurisdiction, has completed their investigation, and then we're going to, assist them as they need. A fire with fatality and extinguishment, who's going to be in charge? Initially, the fire department's going to be in charge, but if there's fatality, our Office of State Fire Marshal, fire investigators are going to come on scene, and they're going to take over that scene once the extinguishment has been accomplished, and we're going to work alongside them, trying to figure out what caused this fire, and then preserving the scene as best we can so that the fire marshal can do their investigation to the best of their ability. Plane crash with injuries and fatalities. Of course, we're going to do what we have to do for the injuries. We're going to leave the fatalities in place, and the FAA is going to be called, and they're going to have to be on scene before really anything else is done. Been involved in several plane crashes with fatalities, and there's not a lot to do until they get there and tell us, once they've completed their investigation, we're able to move forward with what we need to do to assist them. Weather emergencies involving a school. A weather emergency involving a school is going to be driven by the school incident command. They're going to have to determine with the weather emergency, what they want from us, if they need us to be involved, and we're going to assist them. So they're really going to be in command over the school system. Gunman or hostage situations with fire response. Unfortunately, across the nation, there's been a lot of this, in the last few years. So, as long as there's a hostage situation or an active shooter, fire is going to stage in a very safe area at a pretty good distance, so that we're not going to be either targets or hinder the response of the police in any way. We're going to let them determine that the scene is safe for us to be able to go in there and assist with the injured and whatever else we need to do, depending upon, of course, the situation. Hospital, mass casualty situations, we're going to assist with triage and transport if needed. On those hospital mass casualty, we had a tornado that went through our town. It was an EF3. We had 21 patients that went in through the night. Well, we didn't have to assist our hospital. They're very good about calling in extra people. They had extra doctors, extra nurses. They did a phenomenal job. Our health system here is real good about, if they know ahead of time that there's going to be a mass casualty situation, we call and can give them some warning. They will be set up and ready to go. We train with them so that they're prepared for these situations. And unfortunately, we've had a few situations where we've had to activate this, and it's worked pretty well. A tornado incident, like I said, we had an EF3 tornado. I was the operations chief for this. It was quite a large incident. The tornado went 3 miles through our town. We had extrication of people. We had injuries. We had gas leaks. We did not have any fatalities. We were very lucky. We had 3 reported structure fires, with the structure fire, one of them being a confirmed structure fire during this tornado. So we had our hands full there for a while. But you can only handle so much as an incident commander. There are certain times that you've got to delegate things to other people for a large scale incident. So what this was, and have a unified command, which we had set up, and it worked very well. I think we did pretty well considering what we had, and with the total outcome, like I said, no fatalities, 21 injuries. We had 700 homes damaged, and 100 homes were completely destroyed. So it worked pretty well. It's about 6 hours to search that area, which I didn't think too bad, because we had to do house-to-house searches on site. So I thought we did fairly well with that. But the tornado is something, if you need to practice on ahead of time, it's not something you really want to learn on the fly. But we got very lucky with no injuries, and our situation went pretty well. There's a lot of things we could have done better. As you get through any incident, you guys understand you can always do a few things better for sure. Next is